This is Solo Travel Talk. Your solo travel advisor is Astrid Clements.
We're all about improving your travel experience here at Solo Travel Talk. In fact, one of the bases of Astrid's Solo Travel Advisor is to tell you about innovative ideas for the solo traveler. I'm producer Catherine O'Brien, and today we turn our attention to some current trends in the travel industry and get Astrid's take on what these trends mean for you, the solo traveler.
Everybody wants to have a good travel experience, so to know the trends and to know where the action is or what is the cool things that are going on is important when you make your decisions. And it leads me to kind of share with you an article that I recently read about travel trends that I think the listeners will be interested in. But this article talks about, well, it dealt with the luxury travel market and how the luxury market is democratizing. And this is a trend that is here to stay. And basically, the travel market used to be luxury travelers and your mass market and budget travelers. Well, now luxury has basically divided into two different types of luxury travelers or experiences, which you have your ultra luxury travel, which is basically travel that is unattainable to 99.9% of the people. And when I mean unattainable, that's only using private jets, going to very exclusive places that maybe you can only get there by helicopter or invitation only, exorbitantly high-priced rooms, $4,000 a night, things that really nobody would spend that kind of money unless they had so much money they didn't know how to count it all. So this ultra luxury market is there. And basically it focuses on opulence, prestige, and exclusivity. That is the big draw to it. So that is one luxury market now. But the big one is affordable luxury. And affordable luxury is basically attainable luxury for somewhere between 50 to 20% of the population. It has an income level of somewhere $100,000 and above. Usually I'd say around $200,000. It makes it more comfortable. And when I was reading this, I thought, I'm so excited because that's what Astrid Solo Travel Advisor, its mission is to share affordable luxury ideas, products, and services with the solo traveler. So we are right into where the new big trend is. So,
we're on trend, as we would say, right?
Yes, and I really was excited about that. I knew before I developed the website and the concept that, this was a growing number of people, but to really see more and more of it being explained that way and all the different things that are involved in it now, I was really excited. So, but these affordable luxury travelers really are looking for both tangible and intangible qualities to their travel experience, not just opulence or prestige or exclusivity. I mean, they want, some of the tangibles are, first of all, they don't care about smaller rooms, just so they are well appointed. They don't have to be over the top luxurious, but they have to be well appointed. They typically don't, like I said, they don't mind the rooms being smaller. And even they're going to smaller hotels. Hotels more like what Relais and Chateau offer. Boutique types of hotels. Hotels that are owned by families, or hotels that were mansions or castles or big villas that have been turned into now hotels. So that is something that's really changing. Before, the luxury traveler would just head to the Ritz-Carlton or head to Four Seasons. It was just a no-brainer. But now they are looking for things. They don't want the same kind of feel and experience a lot of times that you do get in some of the larger chains. I'm not saying there's anything bad with that. And some people, that's what they like because they know they're going to get consistency. But you're seeing in this affordable luxury market, people are branching out. They're not just automatically staying in those types of hotels. Also, technology is much more important. They want great Wi-Fi, typically free. Now there's more and more. I'll never forget when I was in Russia the second time about 4 years ago. I went into, and I was staying at the Belmont Grand Europe Hotel. Beautiful hotel, really my favorite hotel in St. Petersburg. And I went into their kind of library lounge. It's a beautiful old room. And I was, just came back from flying, 28 hours, and I was wanting to go to bed, and I was still wide awake. So they handed me the menu, and it was a iPad. And I had never seen this anywhere in the world. But here was an iPad with the whole menu. So you got to see what you were ordering. It was easy to use. And you basically ordered it. You didn't need the server to come back the second time and physically write down. They knew what the order was, then they came back, and so you could have your communication through the iPad. And you're seeing these iPads and these different technology things. I mean, even your phone now, they have apps. If you download them, then you can communicate with the front desk and all this. But technology is becoming more and more part of the affordable luxury experience because it keeps it flowing better and it takes out some of the things that could go wrong, etc. Then before, with travel in luxury hotels, big bathtubs and wonderful bathrooms were just really part of the whole experience. Now the bathrooms are, I think, in general, a lot smaller, and showers. Bathtubs are like out and becoming more and more, which I don't like because I'm older and I love baths, but travelers in this, they really like the shower, and these showers have the wonderful shower heads and everything. So that's part of this trend. Then also wellness. When you go to these hotels, these new type of hotels, they really know that people want to be relaxed when they come back to the hotel. They don't just want a fancy experience and sit in a gorgeous restaurant or lounge or out on the beach or whatever. They want more than that. They want sleep comfort beds. They want to be able to choose their pillow type, whether it's, down or synthetic. They want drapes that are dark enough to keep the sunlight from coming in. They want a spa there. If they want a massage, or they feel like they don't want to wash their hair and they want to blow and go, or they want a mani-pedi because they didn't have time to do it, or their nails are chipping or whatever. They want comfort, wellness. I remember when I went to Singapore last year on my round the world trip, I had picked the West End, which was just a brand new hotel in one of the new developments in downtown Singapore. I mean, this hotel was really nice, especially for the price. And it was one of their first real, totally wellness hotels. Everything was geared for you to be relaxed, comfortable, from the music all around to all the smells that you different smell, to the plants and the feng shui, the healthy menus, just everything. I mean, it was really to make you just be relaxed and have an experience where you felt really good. So that's more important too now here again than just being in a fancy place. People are looking to have that quality in where they're staying. Now, some of the intangibles is the authenticity. They want to stay in places that really they a lot of culture is involved. Like I just went to Ireland and I stayed in Dublin, and I picked this hotel called the Arlington Hotel, right by O'Connell Bridge, right kind of in the heart of everything. Near you go across the bridge, and there's the Temple Bar, and all these areas that are historic in Dublin. But this particular hotel had a very large pub, and it was an older hotel. I liked the look of it, definitely liked the location and the price. But it said it had live music every night, and it was really one of the most popular spots in Dublin for friends, couples, singles, anybody. This is where you come just to listen to music and have a good time and eat. So I thought that's really nice. Not just a restaurant in your hotel or whatever. You just have this really lively, convivial hotspot. It turned out even better than I thought. But the point of this is it was authentic Ireland, authentic Dublin. I mean, people in Ireland in the evening, they want to just let go of the cares of the day. They want to talk to people, listen to some good Irish jig and music, and go home and sleep. And it was really so that I'm not the only one that are looking for authentic experiences. The affordable luxury travelers, they want to understand the culture, and it's more that they can experience those different things that are authentic to the place. They like that more, so they choose that also in their hotels, restaurants, blah, blah, blah. Okay? It's a no-brainer, but it's much more focused now. All right. Then the next thing is sense of community. Here again, that's another kind of reason why I picked this hotel. People want to interact with people who they meet along the way much more than they did before. It's all about, I think, this globalism and appreciating other cultures, and people are more comfortable because of the internet. They know more, and so they don't want to just go and sightsee and never talk to hardly anybody. Right. But they really want to see if they can connect or make some new friends. So that's much more important too. And these hotels, the newer ones, they know that they have these much bigger kind of rooms where everybody gets together, and it's not just like the bar or the lounge or restaurant. It's more like where you could work, or you could have a drink, or you could actually eat. It's just it's kind of like a big I don't want to say playroom for adults,
like a hub.
Yeah. And then also what's called mindfulness. They want to be engaged again here in their environment. They don't want to be detached. They want to feel like kind of like this is not their home, but they're just comfortable, and so they're connected. Yeah. Okay, so affordable luxury, basically, this great new trend that is really picking up speed. They want more memorable experiences, travel experiences, not just opulence and exclusivity. So that is a huge, big trend, this democratization of a luxury travel. Then, of course, you still have your mass market, which is also growing. Your mid-market hotels, Airbnb is really popular, and this is right in that market. And, you have a more do-it-yourself. You don't have to eat in restaurants if you don't want to. Typically, if they have like a kitchen, a lot of people really do like this type of travel, and a lot of solo travelers like it. So this is not quite my market, but I have stayed in some luxury Airbnb accommodations, and let me tell you, they've been really, really nice. So, that's always an option. So, there's been a backlash of old luxury. It's kind of getting passe. People they'd much rather bike through southern France than hanging out at real expensive hotels like on the Riviera. That's still there, but it's like that's becoming really kind of not cool. It's kind of dead, to tell you the truth. Or, they want wine and food experiences instead of shopping, which I still do, or buying expensive souvenirs. They want to, like I said, be engaged, mindful, in tune. Slowing down is another thing that more and more travelers are doing. Instead of going 10 different places in 2.5 weeks in Europe, they're choosing 3 places. Or they're only choosing to go somewhere for a week or a week to 10 days because they really want to get into the culture. Also, these types of trips, especially if you're a solo traveler, they will get what's called trip designers. And these trip designers, they will tell them specifically what they want to do, not just sightseeing. It can be going to very unusual things. Like I remember when I went to Russia, I wanted to go to Anton Chekhov's country estate. Now, that's not on any tourist
radar
company's radar. I mean, it is definitely, you can visit it because I read about it, but the bottom line is it's not part of any tour, or it's not. You have to ask to go to something like that, or you have to, like I really wanted to ride in a troika, a big sled, in the snow with 3 horses. I had all of these different things. Go to the very elegant Pushkin Cafe in Moscow. These things are not typically on standard tour itineraries that a solo traveler would take. You have to get somebody specifically to put these kinds of experiences together so you can actually do them, especially in a place where you can't read the language, you definitely don't speak it or understand it, and a solo traveler for the most part is very uncomfortable. Even if they have Uber and they can get there, but they don't know. I mean, what happens if something happens? So, but those kinds of slowing down, having more personalized experiences, that is really a big trend. Experiences, I think, that will be enriching. That's really how people want to spend their money when they travel now, especially the solo traveler. They just don't want your typical old-time tour, etc. They want a lot more. So that's kind of a very broad answer to, your first question.
Yeah. Well, and I think that we've talked about that many times before, about the idea of the experience being the driving force here. And it sounds like that's not just your audience, but that's really that's what's happening with travelers.
Oh, that's in the statistics.
Yeah.
And when we go through specific travel trends, like we're getting ready to do, and whether they're geared to the solo traveler or not, you will see that this is all data driven. This is all what's really actually going on out there. So this is what's happening. This is what's cool.
So what is your first trend that you want to tell us about?
Okay, and this goes kind of back to what I've just been talking about, but it's just a big trend called transformational travel. And this is people's motivation to travel is really for personal transformation. They want to come back more informed, enlightened, and changed. They want to really come back and be changed. They want to push outside of their comfort zones. They want to do things that they don't do around home. they actually are seeking to change their position to perception of the world. They do want to understand the world better, other people, their cultures, and in this travel, people know when they do that they understand themselves better, and this is very important. Experiencing these new cultures in all different kinds of ways, whether it's through the food or understanding why the people dress the way they do, why they have certain beliefs or superstitions, and how they decorate their homes, and why they put certain things in them in certain places. All of these different kinds of things people are seeking now to see and to really understand. And then a lot of times they come back and they'll incorporate some of these things in their life. And this transformational travel experience is really strong. And also I think that more people are more informed, they're open-minded, and they know they want to be what's called more of a global citizen. They're proud of where they're from for the most part, and that's their culture and their traditions. But they do want to be part of the world now, and they don't want to be so centric on just what they think is right. People are much more wanting to know, and travel is the way that they're doing it. So this has really been evolving, I'd say, for the last 10, 15, maybe 20 years. More and more. I mean, it really some of it really started with, the European Union and the Euro. It was all in the consciousness. Like, we have our own countries, but we're really one world. And we need to seek to understand each other and be able to interact. So, to me, this for the solo traveler they love it. Because by nature, solo travelers are curious and open-minded. So transformational travel, I think that's a lot of what solo travelers take part in, whether they know it or not.
Yeah.
No, really and truly,
Yeah.
they are by nature. They just want to really be their eyes to be opened and be transformed.
Wow.
So that's the first trend. The second trend is sustainable travel. Now this is very important, and this has been brewing too for about the last 15, 20 years it started. And this all started around protecting the environment, climate change, renewable energy, recycling, just basically conserving what's already been built in energy and just resources, whether they're physical or historic or whatever. It's not only important for the traveler, but also within the tourism industry. We've all heard of the green footprint. How much energy are you using? How much are you contributing to CH2 and all this kind of stuff, and so it really is. You see it all over now. I mean, a long time ago, they never asked you whether you wanted to have new towels every day or change your sheets. And now it's either within the type of hotel that you're in, and most affordable luxury hotels, will change your sheets if you want them every day. But say for the solo traveler, that actually might not be necessary. And I always say, no, I don't need it, unless I feel like if I stay too long, I feel like I really want it. But that's important because they don't have to wash them. There's a lot of things that go down the chain that saves energy and makes your footprint not as large. So hang those towels up after you. And then also, I'll never forget, I don't know where I was the first time when I went into my room and I couldn't turn the electricity on. And I kept saying, well, I know I got in the door. I mean, What's here? And so I went back down and they said, oh no, you've got to put your card in this little box and that will activate the energy to the room. And I thought, oh God, this is like weird. But it's true. And you see this all over now. This is not just in hotels in Eastern Europe or whatever. These are like really nice hotels. And it's basically the same type of thing. So sustainable practices are being done by the tourism industry, hotels, restaurants, etc., as well as they're asking the traveler to be conscious and to practice these also. Now, a subset of this sustainable tourism is actually embracing the support and protection of cultural and natural heritage sites. I remember when I went to Venice last year, I saw all this about Save Venice. And I knew Venice was sinking and everybody's been talking about, the water. One day the buildings, half of the first floors are all going to be filled with water because the oceans are rising and all this stuff. Well, one of the big problems in part of this Save Venice is being overcrowded with tourists every day. This is not just a summer thing anymore. It is unbelievable. So the Venetians feel like that their city has just lost its essence because of all of these tourists. And what's happened is that a lot of knockoff stores have come in and then displaced the former artisans who made the fabulous leather purses and belts and fabrics and blown glass. It is sad. You will see it all over. And so the Venetians are very sad about this. And they're really fighting back now, as well as all of these cruise ships are really affecting the buildings because they push that water in and push it out, and they're coming in all the time. And this is another thing. So there are going to be some new laws and regulations being put in to save Venice that will affect tourism there. And it will be something that everybody just has to accept. Because if you don't, Venice will be gone. Yeah. That's what they're worried about. Likewise in Africa. It used to be so cool to go big game hunting. Now, they don't do that anymore with the anti-poaching and all this kind of stuff and, a lot of the exotic animals becoming extinct. No, it's game drives. Big game hunting, that is not cool anymore. And then that goes to like protecting the Amazon. There's certain types of tourism experiences that you should. Otherwise, they're being very careful not to disturb that ecosystem. So that is like part of this sustainable tourism consciousness that the world is doing now. And even littering. Don't be a trashy traveler. If you have something, to throw away, find the trash receptacle or whatever.
I'm thinking about like a country like Costa Rica, where it's almost the term ecotourism was kind of coined there, and the entire country's tourism is geared around the preservation of their beach spaces, their jungle spaces, their volcanoes. It's like the whole country is geared towards that one type of travel.
Yes, and that really is becoming even a subset of this sustainable travel. They've got several websites and everything, people that focus on this kind of travel experience. And, I think that the solo traveler is right in this because everybody is becoming more and more sensitized to the importance of this. And, I think you feel more noble when you're like that than just kind of, being there and not paying attention to that. I guess I would say.
Well, I wonder too if it kind of ties back into what you were saying before about that authenticity, where the traveler is not this outside force coming in and disturbing things. It's like this idea of harmony, like the traveler is coming in and there's a sense of harmony about their visit. They're supporting the culture or the environmental area. There might be a little bit of that in there too.
Yes, definitely. And people are more like that, which is great, I think.
They're looking for that.
Yes. Okay, the next big trend is extreme travel. And this is going to
brace yourselves, everyone.
Exotic, less traveled to destinations. I mean, destinations that are hard to get to, like Inner Mongolia or Antarctica, New Zealand, the Galapagos, places where, you read about it in National Geographic, but, I don't think I'll ever go there. No, now people are really deciding, I want to go there. I've been to all the bucket list places, and I've done a lot of the things that, you need to do, but I'm more curious about Antarctica now. And understanding glaciers and penguins and even that ecosystem than they would have been, say, 15, 20 years ago. So that is really becoming more and more of a trend, and you see more and more outfitters doing this. Doing things in places that you never would have thought you could have done those kinds of things. I'll highlight, like, say, wildlife travel in Latin America, where you wouldn't have really thought about going to Latin America to bird watch. You might have thought about going to Latin America to dance or to go to some of their festivals, enjoy their food, their nightlife, but bird watching. But supposedly there's just fabulous bird watching in a lot of different places in Latin America, and there are a lot of people who really are into bird watching. I mean, I never was a bird watcher till I had a friend in the 80s who was a bird watcher, and she loved to drink tea in the afternoon and bird watch outside of her back window, and she kind of got me into it. She bought me a book, and I did for a while really get into it. And I mean, when I would see a purple bunting or indigo bunting or all these things, I'd go, oh God, I actually saw one. I know what it is.
Check it off in your book.
Yeah, but bird watching can really be cool. So, but bird watching in Latin America or safaris, they have like jaguar safaris in Latin America. Now, I mean, granted, if you really thought about it, you'd think, well, why wouldn't a jaguar maybe be in Latin America? But to go on a jaguar safari, now that's different. And so that's all kind of in, like I said, this extreme tourism. People want to just do the real exotic things, and they're looking more and more, and people, the areas that have some of these unique things are cashing in on it. Now, for the solo traveler, this is much more difficult to do, just pure solo, and I think basically really you have to join some kind of organized, at least small group. I mean, you might be able to do a little bit of it, but to really bird watch, I mean, to have a private guide and driver to take you out into all these different, I mean, no, I think that it's better if you do it with a group, and that it's organized and very well thought out. Okay, the next one is, and this is a little bit like the extreme travel, but not exactly, is achievement or adventure travel. Now, there are a lot of people who they want to achieve a lifelong goal. Like they want to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, or they want to walk across England, which is one of my personal goals. I've always wanted to walk across England. Now, I have very bad feet, so I haven't done it yet. And you really have to be in shape. But I think it takes like 7 or 8 days, and you stop at little inns. But it's like a one of the things a lot of people want to do, especially if you like to hike or biking. A lot of people like now to bike through southern France versus renting a car and stopping in the little villages, or, biking through Tuscany and eating their way and drinking their way to the next town. This is becoming very popular. Also, doing some spiritual things like tracing the steps of Christ, or going to different Buddhist temples in the Far East. People, this, I wouldn't say is so much adventure travel, but this is something that they're achieving, something that they've always wanted to do that's meaningful to them. So that's really a growing trend. I think you're going to see more and more of this. Lots of this, I think, is probably for the solo traveler better to do it in a group situation. Like walking across England, I better not do it by myself. In the event I get stuck in the middle and I just don't want to go anymore. I need that van there to pick me up.
Fire up Uber. I'm out of here.
or to have somebody help me, give me something, keep me going. But that is people are thinking in terms of that, much more. Not just say going to the Taj Mahal. I mean, that's granted kind of an achievement, but that's more of a bucket list.
Yeah.
This is something that's really like it's like I did it. I can't believe it was, it changed my life.
Like a couple of examples are coming to mind, like maybe hiking down to the Grand Canyon, or hiking up Mount Everest, or those kinds of things. Yeah.
Or even like I went to Sedona one time, and they have these things. I forgot what it's called now, but Sedona is supposed to have a lot of electromagnetic fields and ley lines in there, and they have certain places where the energy is just really very strong. And it's supposed to be really good to go stand on those places. I forgot what they were called. I wish somebody who was listening to this would type in the comments what it is. I forgot. But I know I went to Sedona and I stood on like 3 or 4 of them. I made the person who was driving me around take me to each one. And I stood on. I don't think it helped at all. Maybe it did. But that was important to me at that time. I wanted to see, because I've read a lot about the ley lines a long time ago, the labyrinths being put in different places, and cathedrals being built at certain places, and Stonehenge, and how a lot of things are kind of like on the same longitude, latitude. I mean, I like to think about those things, because to me they're mysterious, but there is something that propelled mankind to do certain things in certain places. So I was wondering if this standing on these little I forgot what they're called places was going to really jar my mind to maybe some real insight. But here again, it's achieving something that is a personal lifelong goal to you. And a lot more people are thinking like that when they decide where they want to travel. And solo travelers too. So I think most of that, though, is better to be done in a group or a small group. Next trend, volunteer travel, or basically voluntourism. This is really a new trend. This is becoming something that people are actually looking to do. And this is when travelers want to make a difference or have a hands-on experiencing helping other people in their communities. Kind of all part of being a global citizen, giving back. They have a organization called Go Philanthropic, and it does volunteer. You can volunteer on tailor-made trips, and they organize trips to like build wells in Cambodia, orphanages in certain places. After big disasters, they'll go in and help with the cleanup and rebuilding of communities. people are really doing this a lot more now. I mean, I personally would have never thought to do it, but because I've read about it and I have kind of observed it, I will do this one day. I actually think that it is kind of like some of the next level of travel and being an engaged global citizen, and really being in tune, not just to travel and to experience and be there and have all kinds of fun, but to do more than that. I think this is probably really very, very personally rewarding, much more than you would think before you did it. It's a kind of after effect of it. You feel, if you help build a well in a community that has lost the most important thing, and then 10 years later you think, I might have saved this, that, and the other little girl's life. If you're an in tune human at all, that makes you feel real good. So this is a much bigger trend than you think, and I think it's going to be more and more popular. Young and old are doing this. I think it's great for the solo traveler in terms of giving back.
And it sounds like maybe solo travelers might be able to find like-minded people.
Mm-hmm. Yes. People who are doing this are fine people. I mean, really, if you take your travel time and you do something like that, I mean, of course, there might be some self-serving people somewhere in the group, but for the most part, the people are really cool people. Okay, next one is the grown-up digital nomads. Now, this is a new trend.
Okay, my interest is piqued. What?
These are baby boomers, which are, growing by leaps and bounds in terms of free time and travel, etc. Well, they are wanting to stay in a place longer than just a normal trip of 10 days, maybe 3 weeks at the max. They want to go somewhere for 3 months, 6 months, year. I mean, they want to really take deep dives into a culture, take classes, do enrichment activities, even give back, teach English, work. If they want to actually work, do some consultancy. I mean, they want to really sit a spell in a place. And this, because of, I think, the rise of Airbnb, this is becoming more and more popular. And solo travel is great for that. You can, rent yourself a good apartment in a good location at a reasonable price, especially in a lot of places in the world, and you can do these kinds of things now. And if you're retired, this is possible. In fact, I'm thinking about doing it. I love St. Petersburg, Russia so much, and I have several friends there now because I've been there several times, and the city is just delightful. I'm thinking about going one summer and really staying for 3 months and taking some classes, art history, and going through the Hermitage Museum in a real in-depth way, because that's a magnificent museum. I mean, that and the Louvre, they both, I don't know which one is better. But the building itself, all the different pieces of art, and they have I think 7 different buildings that are all part of the Hermitage that are filled with art. I mean, Russia has so much art that they have, collected through the years, and the state has basically kept and protected. It's mind blowing. So, and their literature is just very fascinating, and there are a lot of famous writers that lived in this area. I'd love to really kind of read it all and then discuss it with people who have the background to really know the nuances of it, etc. And then, of course, the performing arts is so wonderful. So to go to the ballet and the symphony and everything that they have constantly going on. So this wanting to stay in a place for longer and basically be a nomad. And they're called a grown-up nomad, digital nomad. I mean, we all have computers now. We can stay connected. So this is really something that is catching on. And to me, it's kind of a combination of transformational, achievement, volunteer travel. I mean, it's kind of everything. Yeah. And that really wouldn't have been too much possible before, unless you were stationed somewhere for business or with a government assignment or something like that. So that is a growing trend, totally geared for the solo traveler.
Listeners, don't worry. I'm already thinking of ways that Astrid will still be able to podcast even if she's living in St. Petersburg.
Look, I will love to do that because I love St. Petersburg. Yeah. And I know a lot of people because it's in Russia and they don't understand the Russian culture. And, a lot of people don't. It's not easy just to go. You have to get a visa and all of this kind of stuff. But it's just the architecture is just gorgeous, and the performing arts are fabulous. The visual arts are fabulous. I love the Russian people. They are a little at first standoffish, but once you get to know them, I mean, they've got so much passion and fire. You always have a good time with them. They just kind of know how to just make any situation fun. but they have to first of all see if they're comfortable with you. So it takes a little bit of a
acquaintance period there or something.
Yes. Okay, so digital grown-up digital nomads. Here we come. Now, there's some more specific micro, or what I kind of consider sector specific travel trends, and I'll go through these just kind of quickly.
Sure.
Cruises, specifically riverboat cruises, are really becoming more and more popular than the big cruises. And a lot of them, people are liking theme-based cruises, big band, Christmas markets, tulip cruises, and then they even have cruises for singles now, that you don't have to pay the solo supplement, which is the big killer.
That's a big thing, yeah.
Big killer. Also, there's a particular riverboat line called Uniworld, which is actually my favorite. There's a woman that is the head of this company, and she's just fabulous. She's got such great taste, and she's just so big on service and making everybody have a memorable experience that really, I mean, she's just a fabulous spirit.
Didn't you mention when we profiled Uniworld, it's a family company?
Yes. And it started out, she had boutique hotels, Red Coronation hotels, and now, I mean, they're really branching out. But and her boats are just gorgeous. All the new ones she's retrofitted are just exquisite. I mean, a lot of the rooms are not, they're all different. I mean, it's really extraordinary interior design. Well, she is starting in 2018. They will have 2 riverboats strictly focused on millennials. They're going to target travelers between the age of 21 and 45. The boats are going to be much more trendy and sleek. They're going to have rooftop lounges, DJs every night for partying, lots of yoga classes and Pilates, adventurous excursions like rock climbing, whitewater rafting, biking adventures, things that millennials want to do. So I think she's just really good. Uniworld is just really, I think they're really the best. So these riverboat cruises are becoming very popular just because I think some of it people or they feel more safe, and there's a little bit more to do because you're getting off the boat more, and there are a lot of reasons why. Next smaller trend is called breakup breaks. Now, travel, a lot of times people will travel for big occasions, honeymoon, anniversaries, birthdays. Well, now trending is travel during times of grief, whether it's after divorce, death, or even children leaving home in an empty nester. And this is becoming more and more of a trend, especially with, they have what's called wellness breaks or healing, that are healing focused. Not just resort destinations where you just chill out, massage on the beach, and just cry or just, be by yourself and just give yourself some space. Now there are actually really wonderful resorts and places where you can go around the world that do focus on helping you heal mind, body, and spirit. There's a particular place called the SHA Wellness Clinic in Alicante, Spain, and it is one of the nicest. It's here again luxury, and they have specific programs, week-long, 2-week, month-long, as long as you want, geared towards anti-stress is one of them, how to just basically de-stress yourself on mind, body, and spirit levels. Rejuvenation, reducing premature causes of aging, really learning and practicing a holistic health routine. Recovery, regaining your vitality. Yay! Like I said, balancing mind, body, and spirit. This type of travel, I think, will really continue to grow in popularity as all of our lives become much too stressful, much more uncertain, lots of change. We're going to need help, or we're going to need to go to places that will give us more than just a place to be by yourself and like I said, cry it out. But this is great for the solo traveler. And lots of solos are doing this, and you basically do this when you're solo. You're not going to typically go with any family member or whatever. You just really want to go by yourself. But these are places that are really very fine. So I haven't been to one yet, but I've read several, and I do intend to do that. And if I am in this bad state of grief, I probably will definitely go maybe to Shaw or whatever. So that is a new trend for sure. Then we've got train trips are kind of coming back into vogue. Trains used to be the only way you could get everywhere. Now they're getting more and more. I mean, the Orient Express a long time ago was always very romantic, and it was extremely expensive, and only the hoi polloi did it, whatever. But now it's kind of like riverboat cruising or cruising. People like the fact that you can get on a train. You don't have to pack and unpack. It's a small group of people. You focus in on a particular area that maybe is typically hard to kind of see everything. And there's got a lot of cultural immersion in it. And the trains are really very nice inside. This is becoming really popular. They have trains that, a couple of the examples are the Palace on Wheels in India. I mean, they have trains that just fabulous luxury week to 2-week train trips through southern India, through the Rajasthan, India, through all kinds of different routes on the Indian rails. And India being so big and so difficult to travel, especially for the solo traveler, I think one of these affordable luxury train trips in India is a great way to experience India. But others, they have like the Trans-Siberian Express that goes from Moscow to Beijing. It's a 2-week train trip. Lots of people like to do that. Then there's Rovos Rails in Africa, which takes you from, I think it's Cape Town or Johannesburg all the way up to Dar es Salaam. And along the way, you do some safaris, you see the falls. I mean, there are all kinds of different things that you experience or would want to experience when you go to Africa. But you have this common place where you sleep every night in this beautiful train that's kind of decorated in Afro-Victorian.
Wow.
It's gorgeous. I mean, I really want to do this one, but you have to have more time because I want to do the 2-week long. But that's a wonderful train. And then also the Blue Train, which is in South Africa, and it goes through the wine country, etc. So these trains are becoming more and more popular. I want to mention one more. There's a vintage train that I read about. Now, I just recently read about it. It's called the Rheingold, but it's the Trans Europa Express, and it is actually a 1960s train. It's an old train that has been retrofitted. It has a deluxe dining car, glass dome observation car, and the route goes through all these villages, through Germany and in this area. And you don't spend the night on this train. You have to spend the night in luxury small hotels. But it kind of takes you back through a bygone type of train trip. Not only with the train itself, but the route.
Yeah.
That's also, people are wanting to do these kinds of things. Great for the solo traveler because, you're with a small group. Everything is taken care of. I think you get a lot for your money. I'm going to do some of these when I get around to it. Okay, going to the end, there's some special interest tours. That's another big trend. That's more about this enrichment focus. Whether it's culinary or food-focused tours where you take cooking lessons, you go to markets, you learn how to cut a tomato right, everything. Wine tours are very popular now because people love wine. They love to eat and go see, different places while they're visiting these vineyards and learning about, why this tastes so good and this doesn't, etc. Lots of people are into art tours and art retreats where they go and they paint, and then they go to museums and they interact with different artists locally. That all these kinds of things people are seeking to do. They want to do this kind of travel versus just, like I said, sightseeing, shopping, and drinking. They've got like garden tours. That's becoming more and more popular. Not only going to the gardens, but learning new techniques of pruning and all of that. And also glamping. Now, this is one thing that I keep reading about these glampers. And I hadn't gone that far yet, but it is really becoming more and more popular. The road trip concept with these mini or these big campers that are just really luxurious. To me, it sounds like it'd be fun for 3 days, but after a while, but there are a lot of people that really like it, and it is a trend. And even for the solo traveler, I think if you have your, RV and a little small, real luxurious camper, or you stay in an area where they have luxurious teepees or whatever, you have to be in some semblance of a group, obviously, because safety is really, to me, key. And you can be very unsafe if you're by yourself camping. I don't care how luxurious your camper is. But this could be something that is really, really personally like a lifelong kind of deal that you did and you experienced, and not just being in a hotel. You have some of your own semblance of how you want your coffee to go in the morning, etc. So, but this is a trend. So these little specialty interest tours, they're growing more and more, and you're going to see more little offshoots of it. Rose tours of France, and learn about all the different rose types of France and why France has the best roses, which I'm just making all this up. But things like that, you will see more and more. Then the last two really are destination focused. They're popular destinations or new destinations, and I kind of touched on this on the exotic travel, that people are going to more and more. Cuba, Eastern Europe, places like Sofia, Bulgaria, Lubyanka, Slovenia, Tbilisi, Georgia. I just talked to somebody at the Travel Bloggers Conference in Ireland, and she had just gotten back from Tbilisi, and her market was affordable luxury, what she blogged about, and she loved it. She said, Tbilisi, Georgia was so much fun. And here again, this is part of the Russian Federation, and I thought, I've wanted to go there, and I know the wine is really good there. This is supposedly, I think, where grapes and viticulture actually really did start, was in Georgia. But the food, the Georgian cuisine is great too. So, but these places are becoming more and more where people are choosing to go to. Now, also kind of a subset of this destination is destinations which people think are safe. These new destinations that I just shared with you, they're more affordable, say, than Paris and, your typical places people would go. And they're also places that you wouldn't totally normally go, but they have some semblance of a European culture or Latin American culture or Spanish or whatever. But this subset of destinations really focuses on countries that are considered really safe. And Condé Nast just came out with their 10 safest countries. So I want to share it with our listeners. This list is Ireland, and I can attest to that. I loved Ireland. I felt so safe in Ireland. Ireland, Japan, Switzerland, Canada, Slovenia, Czech Republic, Denmark, Austria, Portugal, and Iceland. Very good for the solo traveler. I mean, obviously, if you can go to destinations that are just basically a lot safer for various reasons, and you're interested in going there, it's a good place for you to travel. So, Catherine, to sum it all up, I think these are kind of the themes of the top travel trends are less opulence and more authenticity, cultural immersion, slower travel, staying longer in one place, that digital baby boomer nomad. But I mean, younger people can't take as long time, but slower travel, going to less places each trip, maybe just focusing on one city versus 3 in 10 days. Special interest trips, whether they're focused on a particular hobby that you have or something that you really have an interest in learning about. Connecting with others around the globe, the volunteer tourism, or just doing other things that you connect with people. Sustainability, being aware of that green footprint. Wellness, more me time, and kind of rejuvenation of the physical, mental, and spiritual aspect of who you are through travel. And really kind of just broad-based enriching versus sightseeing. That's kind of the whole essence of what's happening in travel as far as the trends. So, I mean, I think personally the solo traveler really can partake in all of these new travel trends. Some they can do easily pure solo. Some you have to have the help of a trip designer that can help you design a bespoke trip or do tailor-made things while you're in a certain place. And then some you just really need to join a group to do. But all of them, I think, are geared to the solo traveler more. Some are more than others. But I think they're all great.
Yeah.
And I kind of done most all of them, but not everything.
Not the glamping yet.
I mean, I've thought about buying like a what is that van, the Mercedes van?
Oh, like a Sprinter van?
Sprinter.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw this one, tricked out Sprinter that was gorgeous. And I thought, I like that. I like that. But I thought, now how will I justify spending this much money? I'll have to spend the night in this in this Sprinter. How many nights? And then really, I don't know. I just couldn't make the final jump. It was definitely enticing.
Yeah. Okay, I have a proposal for you. So you use it when you're going and you can do your own glamping in this Sprinter, and then when you're not using it, you turn that into an Airbnb and have somebody stay in it.
Well, let me tell you, everybody's sharing everything now, so I wouldn't put it past. My thought was not only could I take all these road trips in the United States and go into these little micro cultures that are everywhere, but I could ship it across the ocean, then drive it all through Europe. I mean, my imagination was going wild. I thought, but then when I really thought about it, I'm not there yet.
Yeah. Well, when you do get there, listeners, you'll be the first ones to know about that. One thing that these very interesting trends won't save you from is packing. And you know that Astrid has an amazing packing list that you can get a copy of that will help you with your next trip. Her complimentary packing list is available at her website, astridtravel.com. Just go right over there, get your complimentary packing list so that you will be saved from the stress of packing the next time you are indulging in one of these wonderful trends. This podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and really any of the finer places that podcasts can be found. Once you're heading over to get the packing list, just look at astridtravel.com/podcast and you'll find this show. We'd love to hear what you think. Please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast.
And before you say goodbye, Catherine,
yes,
if y'all can remember, anybody can remember what those places are where all those ley lines come. I know it's called something that you stand on. But share it with me in the comments.
Satisfy our curiosity. Well, thank you so much for listening, everybody, and we'll see you next time on Solo Travel Talk.
Thank you for listening to Solo Travel Talk. Follow Astrid on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. To learn more about Astrid or Solo Travel Advisors, visit our website, astridtravel.com.